We just wanted to ask kind of what you think, how do you achieve a quality education? I know the Cristo Ray project kind of combined work and school, so what do you think are broadly, what makes a great education?
Well, I think the most important thing for a great education, great teachers, motivated students. If you have that combination, you'll have great education, no matter what the building, no matter where, no matter what the language, no matter what the social or economic background of the students or faculty. Great teachers, motivated students equals great education.
Right, and great teachers play such a role in motivating students.
Correct, correct. And what we believe in our network of schools, our model, we serve only students from low-income families. They work 1 day a week at major companies in the cities in which we are located. And we believe that that work experience gives our students a tremendous sense of what it takes to become a professional. That basically means you have to get a good education. So after about 1.5 years, we find that our students, many of whom come to us behind grade level and not motivated, become very motivated because they realize the people with whom and for whom they're working are no smarter than they are, but those people went to college. And they then begin to get that self-motivation. This is what I want to become. I want to become a professional person so I can help other people. To do that, I have to get a good education and a good college. To do that, I have to finish high school and finish high school well.
So, and kind of related to that, our program emphasizes the role of the student and the learner and giving them a voice in education, and I wondered if you could speak to that for the project at Cristo Ray. For example, did the students have input in their job placements, or just kind of how that works?
Absolutely. We have jobs in a variety of companies, you know, financial services, law firms, architectural firms, banks, several not-for-profits. We ask the students when they're freshmen, we have a 3-week business boot camp for them the summer before they actually start school, and we ask them what type of a firm they'd like to work at. We're not always able to meet their direct requests, but we get pretty close to doing that. And then during the course of their career with us, if they ask, for example, a student might work at Credit Suisse for 2 years and say, well, now I've worked at a financial services corporation, I'd like to work at a law firm, we'll affect that change for them. We do listen to the students a lot. We get a lot of feedback from them about, you know, what they see as strong and weak points in our educational program. We try to incorporate things that are legitimate changes that they're asking for, but we always measure and evaluate them, obviously, against what benchmarks are.
Great. So I know for the learners, we also have sub-themes that we work on, and one of the sub-themes I think that we're working on is multi-stakeholder partnerships for education. So you mentioned Credit Suisse, and I was just wondering how your partnerships with businesses, other community organizations, that collaborating for change that the whole summit is about, kind of enrich the experience for your students and, you know, drove their success maybe.
Well, our students require a tremendous, our program, requires a great deal of cooperation with the business community. Obviously, we have to go out and solicit the business community to try to have them sponsor job teams of our students to work in their companies and corporations. Then when they say yes, we have to help train their supervisors as to, you know, how they would supervise a high school age student, which they're not used to doing, about how they evaluate our students. Every day that the student works, we get feedback from the supervisors, and then more formal evaluations are done 3 times a year. So we have to obviously have a very, very strong relationship with the business community. We also have a very strong relationship with the funding community. Many of the major foundations in the United States have become donors to the Cristo Ray model schools. We also have close relationships with the parents of the students. We think that's critically important, and very close relationships with colleges and universities that our students might attend. And I play part of a role in all but the parents. That's more the faculty and the staff.
I guess our last question is about access and equity, because Cristo has this amazing reputation for college placement and enrollment, and I just wondered if you wanted to speak any more to how that equity and access drove the work, or continues to drive the work.
Well, what we measure in our program, we have mission measurement buckets, and there's 3 buckets: college readiness, college access, college success. So we don't end when the student graduates from our high school. We follow them through college, we visit them in college, we're there to answer any questions they might have or help them if they face any particular difficulties. So it's very important for us that we have a kind of that we emphasize those items: readiness, access, and success. And we'd have none of it without access to our school. And basically, one of the great funders that we have, a woman who runs the Altman Foundation in New York City, told me before we opened, your mission and the mission of the Altman Foundation is exactly the same. In one word: access. So we provide access to a quality college education for our students, and we help provide access to a great college education, and that then gives them access to a life of becoming professionals for others.
Thank you. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to ask, I mean, regarding multi-stakeholders who fund your, what is the funding mechanism that the Cristo network uses to fund some of its, students through college or the high school? Because that raises a lot of problems. Because when you're talking about multi-stakeholder partnerships for education, you need to ensure that these partnerships are for education, whereas this is where the gray area lines, because sometimes these partnerships are for the sake of partnerships. Right. These multi-stakeholders like Credit Suisse and all the other business interests, they have their own interests in mind in going into these partnerships, projecting a positive image or for that matter anything. So how do you ensure, as chairman of the Cristo Network, that these partnerships are essentially for education and not something else?
Well, we have that very well articulated, and in the U.S. there are laws about foundations and corporations making gifts to not-for-profits. They can't then control. They can say, we will give you a grant to pay for financial aid for your students. We'll give you a grant to help pay for the athletic teams, things like that, but they have to be intimately connected with the role of the school. And we're very careful about, what gifts we accept and what we take. Now, in terms of businesses being involved with us, some of it is in their self-interest. In other words, they want to motivate they want to build up they want to diversify their workforce, for one thing. So we're going to provide a pipeline for them, so that African American and Hispanic kids in particular, and a certain number of Asian kids, will be trained, will be able to go to college and university and get good degrees, and then these companies will be able to hire them. And they feel that our students, will have good memories of the years they worked there while they were with us. Secondly, it is for the image of the companies. I mean, a lot of companies, rather than just spending their money on advertising and taking out an ad in a newspaper or on a television station, would prefer spending the money doing something good for the community, doing something good for low-income people, and that's why they're very interested in supporting education. But we're very clear, we would turn down a gift if we felt that the donor was trying to interfere in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And if I could have just one last question.
Sure.
Sometimes, I mean, I can understand that, yes, I mean, it's very well articulated in the laws and everything that, these gifts can't have vested interests, and you basically refuse any gifts from, partners in your project. Mm-hmm. But what if sometimes, the multi-stakeholders involved in these partnerships, because education is something that takes some time, and, it's not very tangible, sort of the outcome is not very tangible, like it's not very based on a short-term outlook. So how do they do this? Has it ever occurred when these multi-stakeholder partners pressure you to sort of give you a nudge forward to sort of accelerate the process? Because like you said, it is in their interest. Sometimes they want to diversify their workforce. Sometimes they want to project a good image. So how do you manage to sort of navigate in that geography wherein a multi-stakeholder is trying to pressure you to accelerate the process?
Right. We have had pushback with a couple of foundations, one in particular, that it seems to me has an overemphasis on standardized testing and not enough emphasis on really the liberal arts education. So we've argued back and forth, and I think they see our way. We've compromised on a couple of things with them in terms of not allowing our mission to really serve low-income kids. They're very interested that we maintain that. So we made an agreement with them that a certain number of our kids would not be, they don't want us just getting in very bright kids. They want us to get in students who are not only economically challenged, but academically challenged. And I think that's fair enough, because their giving is only to those with great needs, and they want to make sure we're doing that. So there can be a flip side to your question. Funders can actually help a not-for-profit remain true to their identity, remain true to their mission by keeping a little bit of heat on. We have not had anybody really try to interfere in a way that would be inappropriate. And we would spot that, I think, quickly if that were to happen.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.